We're here in historic Grove Park Inn in the scenic mountains of western North Carolina. Unfortunately, today our weather hasn't cooperated, but we have been fortunate enough to get our honored guest here for an interview. We have Tom Bush, our incoming president, who will handle the interview and the introduction. Tom, would you introduce your guest?
Thank you, John. I would like to, first of all, welcome everyone to Asheville and to Conclave 79, and to introduce to you our guest of honor, Mr. Gerald Coker. Gerry was involved in the early years of the design stage of the Healey 100. Gerry, welcome.
Thank you very much, Tom. I must say that I'm very honored to be here, despite the typically English weather that's forced us into this indoor tape.
Well, at least the cars might feel at home a little bit.
Well, yeah, someone said that already.
Gerry, can you give us an idea of what your involvement with the Healey Motor Company was in the early years? When you started, what you did, and so forth?
Yes. I went to join the Healey Company as really as a body engineer. I'm a mechanical engineer, but they wanted a body engineer, and a friend of mine and also a friend of Donald Healey's convinced me that I could do it. So I said, well, I don't think so. Anyway, I went. And I did engineering on the Nash Healey, was the car that we were working on when I got there. That's the English Nash Healey, not the Italian one. And then I was always interested in the appearance of cars and car styling, always doodling cars as a boy, and so on and so forth. So during slack moments, I'd take the existing cars they had, a drawing, wheelbase, so on, position of engine, and doodle what I thought they should have done with it in the first place. And of course, eventually I was caught. The skipper came in, and I was doing this. He said, well, what are you doing? And I said, well, I was thinking that you could have done this with this car and improved it, and so on and so forth. And he said, well, yes, that looks pretty good, and so on. So that became a bit of a habit to try and improve things that we already had. And so naturally one day he comes in and says that we need there's a market for a car between the XK120 and the MG. And he said, I've been thinking about it, and I think we had something with a 90-inch wheelbase, and we could use a four-cylinder Austin engine, Austin drivetrain, so on.
Now this is Mr. Healey.
That's Mr. Healey, yes. And Barry Bilby was the designer of the chassis. I designed the bodies, he designed the chassis. So Barry and Jeff and I got together after Donald had given us his outlines on the proverbial back of the envelope, and he said, well, see what you can come up with, I'm off. See, so off he goes. And we doodled and so on and so forth, made drawings and sketches, and that's really how the Austin-Healey, this was a Healey still, and eventually he and I had very similar tastes, so it wasn't a difficult job for me to project what I would like to see to him. And we thought, well, we'll get a prototype made, and with a bit of luck we could sell or build at the plant probably 5 cars a week. Which, of course, you know what happened after that. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And from then, I worked on the Bonneville salt flat cars and improvements and bigger Healey's or hard tops, personal cars for him. We built probably, I can't think how many cars, but a number of variations of hard tops and racing versions and things like this. Then people kept buying the 104, so why change it? And there's me still doing nothing really. because the car's still going on
and on. Yeah.
People keep buying it. We decided that maybe we should design a new one. So we designed a new one, and that had concealed headlamps and concealed top and this type of thing. But it was decided that it would be too expensive. And it would be cheaper to put 2 inches in the wheelbase of the 4, redesign the front, keep the same theme, and that's how the 106 came about.
Beautiful. Then I guess you can safely assume that we owe you a bit of gratitude and thanks for designing what we all love and are here to meet about, because your design in the original 100 carries all the way through the 67 BJ8 series. The cars are very similar. Now, you had a little bit to do with the 6 then. You worked on the grill and the styling of the hood and so forth.
Yes. The 6 was a continuation of the 100 design and was carried out by Jensen Cars. And while that was being done, I was still working on a future model. However, Donald Healey came back from a trip to Jensen's one day and said, I'm really disappointed with the front end of the 106. Of course, it's not the first time he said that. He said that about the 104 too. So he has this thing about disappointments on front ends. And he said, I think you'd better get out there and see what you can do with it. Save it before it's too far gone. Well, the sheet metal was already formed around the nose, and they had the grille set back behind the sheet metal. It curved like an inverted thing. It didn't have an aggressive look about it. So I made a sketch while I was there and told the chief engineer that we were going to change the front end, and took my sketch back to show Donald Healey, and he said, well, that looks fine. Tell him to do that. So I went back again and said, do this.
Beautiful, beautiful. You had some involvements with the Sprite series cars too, didn't you?
Yes, the skipper wanted a car that, as he put it, this was really for the English market, and the English chap can put in his bicycle shed. So it's very narrow and had to be cheap. We couldn't have exotic shapes, and we looked on it as a poor man's Ferrari, which is why it had a sort of, although it got a bit lost in the translation, a Ferrari sort of Testarossa slow snout, you see. And I did the work on that, but then we decided that we were sick of gas rationing, and of course we were approaching the same state here.
I think it might be well for you to design another one quickly, huh?
That's right. And so on, and decided, well, let's try America. And so after the first prototype was built, and it was painted Ferrari red. Well, only the shell was built. That's when I left. They painted it Ferrari red, and it looked pretty good. So I was slightly horrified when I saw the first one with these bug eyes. I couldn't see the car. All I could see were these huge headlamps. I was disgusted, although it turned out to be a cute car.
Well, it's turned out to be a most distinctive car for sure, right. And it's definitely a Healey product.
Yes.
It has really been tagged such. Well, I can't tell you how great it is to have you here, and I hope that you and your wife are enjoying yourselves, and I hope that this is only the first of many more conclaves that you'll return for.
Yes, we certainly will.
In closing, have you got any cute anecdote-type stories that you might be able to tell on the Healey Motor Company, or something that, I don't mean to catch you off guard, but something that might be funny or...
No, I can't think of anything funny.
Well, Again, thank you for coming, and I hope you've enjoyed yourself.
Oh, thank you very much. It's been a great pleasure, and it's an honor to be invited here, Tom.
Thank you.
I'd like to wish you all the best as your position as the new president of the club.
Jerry, thank you so much. We won't tell anybody that you own an Aston Martin.
No, please don't. I'm going to have to sell that. My wife's already nagging me.
Oh, as long as it's for a Healey, we have it made.
Absolutely.
Great. Thanks again.
Thank you very much.